He's considered to be the oldest human mummy found intact, and scientists believe he died more than 5,000 years ago.
This is the world's first replica of Otzi the Iceman.
In the heart of the Alps, frozen in time for millennia, lay Otzi the Iceman, a relic of ancient history. But beneath the icy surface of this millennia-old corpse, a revolution is brewing. Thanks to cutting-edge science and the power of DNA, his icy body is yielding secrets that are rewriting history books and leaving scientists utterly dumbfounded.
Because of new DNA technology, they're reimagining what he actually looked like.
What secrets did Otzi's DNA reveal? And how will these revelations reshape our understanding of human history? Join us on this captivating adventure as ancient DNA reveals Otzi the Iceman's secrets, leaving scientists stunned. Otzi's discovery. Otzi, famously known as the Iceman, is a natural mummy discovered in the Ötztal Alps, which straddle the border between Austria and Italy. He is one of the oldest mummies ever found in Europe. Otzi's nickname comes from the region where he was discovered. Otzi's discovery unfolded on a crisp September day in 1991, when two German travelers, Helmut and Erika Simon, stumbled upon him high in the Ötztal Alps, nestled between Austria and Italy. Perched at a staggering elevation of 3,120 meters on the east ridge of the Fenelspitze, Otzi's resting place was near the majestic Similon Mountain and the Tisenjoch Pass. Imagine the astonishment of the Simons when, at first glance, they mistook Otzi for a recently fallen fellow mountaineer. Little did they know, they had stumbled upon an ancient marvel, frozen in time. The following day, a daring mountain gendarme and the keeper of the nearby Similonhütte ventured to the site to retrieve the body. Despite their efforts to chip away at the ice encasing Otzi's lower body with pneumatic drills and ice axes, the harsh weather thwarted their rescue mission. News of the remarkable discovery spread like wildfire, attracting the attention of mountaineering legends such as Hans Kammerlander and Reinhold Messner. In no time, the remote site became a focal point for curious explorers and researchers eager to unravel the mysteries surrounding Otzi's ancient existence. The body of Otzi was carefully removed from its icy tomb on September 22nd, and the following day, it was brought to the office of the medical examiner in Innsbruck, along with various objects discovered nearby. Archaeologist Konrad Spindler from the University of Innsbruck took charge of examining the find on September 24th. Based on the type of axe found alongside Otzi, Spindler estimated that the discovery dated back to at least 4,000 years. Further analyses were conducted on tissue samples from the corpse and other associated materials at several scientific institutions. The conclusive results astonished the world. Otzi had lived between 3,359 and 3,501 BC, approximately 5,000 years ago. Unveiling Otzis Anatomy. The mummy of Otzi has undergone thorough examination, including measurements, X-rays, and dating techniques. According to the latest findings, Otzi stood at about 160 meters tall, weighed approximately 50 kilograms, and was around 45 years old when he died. Initially, when discovered, his body weighed about 13.750 kilograms because it was preserved in ice shortly after his death, which slowed down its decay process. Initial reports suggested that parts of his genitalia were missing, but further investigation disproved this claim. Studies on pollen, dust grains, and the isotopic composition of his tooth enamel suggest that Otzi spent his early years near the present-day village of Feldthurns in South Tyrol, north of Bolzano. However, later in life, he moved to valleys approximately 50 kilometers farther north. A computerized tomography CT scan revealed an unusual positioning of Otzi's stomach, which had moved upward to where his lower lung area would typically be located. Examination of the stomach contents uncovered partially digested ibex meat, confirmed through DNA analysis. This suggests that Otzi had consumed a meal less than 2 hours before his death. Additionally, wheat grains were detected in his stomach. It's believed that Otzi's last meal likely consisted of dried, fatty meat from a wild goat native to South Tyrol, Italy. Further analysis of Otzi's intestinal contents indicated 2 previous meals. One comprised chamois meat, while the other included red deer meat and herb bread, both accompanied by roots and fruits. The grain found with these meals was identified as highly processed einkorn wheat bran, possibly in the form of bread. Near Otzi's body, remnants of his provisions were discovered, including chaff and grains of einkorn and barley, flax and poppy seeds, as well as kernels of sloes and various wild berries. Hair analysis was used to check what he ate a few months back. The pollen found in his first meal suggests he dined in a forest with tall trees, and other pollens hint at him eating wheat and beans, possibly grown by people. There were also tiny grains from a hop hornbeam tree. The pollen was really well kept, showing it was fresh, maybe only about 2 hours old when he died, placing the time around spring or early summer. Einkorn wheat is usually harvested in late summer and sloes in autumn, so they must have been saved from the year before. Otzi's hair contained high levels of both copper particles and arsenic. This, along with his super pure copper axe, suggests he might have worked in copper smelting. Scientists also looked at the sizes of his leg bones and pelvis. They think Otzi spent a lot of time walking over hilly places. This much moving around was unusual for people in the Copper Age. It could mean he was a shepherd who herded animals in high places. With fancy 3D scanning tech, the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Italy made a model of Otzi's face. It makes him seem older than his 45 years. With deep brown eyes, a beard, and a wrinkled forehead, he looks weary and not very neat. Otzi, the ancient ice mummy, had a nasty stomach bug called whipworm. Imagine tiny worms in his intestines causing him discomfort. When experts looked at CT scans, they saw that a few of his ribs on the right side were cracked, possibly from him lying face down after he died, or from the weight of the ice crushing his body. It's like finding clues from a CSI show. One of his fingernails had strange lines called Bow's lines, suggesting he got sick 3 times in 6 months before he passed away. The last time, about 2 months before his death, he felt unwell for 2 weeks. Plus, his skin was missing its outer layer, which is normal when you're preserved in ice like he was. Otzi's teeth were in bad shape, probably because he ate a lot of grains and carbs. DNA tests showed that Otzi was lactose intolerant, showing that even back then, some people couldn't stomach milk. When doctors looked into his lungs with a special tool, they found them blackened with soot. This suggests he spent a lot of time near fires, keeping warm and cooking his meals. Imagine what his daily life was like thousands of years ago. Decoding the ancient tattoo stories. Otzi had a whopping total of 61 tattoos. Picture it like ancient body art. These tattoos were made up of 19 sets of black lines, varying in width from super thin to about the size of a grain of rice, and in length from tiny to as long as your finger. They weren't random either. Some formed lines running up and down his body, while others made shapes like crosses behind his knee and on his ankle, and lines circling his wrist. But the real tattoo party was on his legs, where he had 12 sets of lines. When scientists took a closer look at the tattoos, they found something fascinating. The ink wasn't fancy stuff from a store. It was made from fireplace ash or soot. It's like he was getting tattooed with ancient DIY ink. And they didn't just slap it on like a modern tattoo. No, they made small cuts or poked tiny holes in his skin, then rubbed the ink in. Some experts think he got tattoo touch-ups because most of them were really dark. It's like he had his own ancient tattoo artist giving him fresh ink regularly. When doctors looked at Otzi's bones using special machines, they found signs of wear and tear, kind of like when your favorite shoes start to get old and worn out. These signs were mostly in areas where he had tattoos, like his lower back and knees. It's like his body was telling a story. Some experts think these tattoos weren't just for looks. They might have been a way to help with pain, sort of like ancient pain relief methods you hear about today, like acupuncture or acupressure. Interestingly, Otzi lived way before those methods were known in China, where people usually think they started. It's like he was ahead of his time. Think about it. 9 out of his 19 tattoo groups were right on spots where people today stick needles for acupuncture, and most of the others were on lines in the body that are important in acupuncture too. It's like his tattoos were a secret map of his body's pain points. Maybe those tattoos on his stomach even helped with the tummy troubles from his nasty stomach bug. It's like Ötzi was his own ancient doctor, using tattoos to heal himself. Ötzi's tattoos weren't easy to spot at first. They were hiding in plain sight because they were so faint. But clever researchers used fancy cameras that can see different kinds of light that our eyes can't. These cameras revealed all the tattoos Ötzi had, uncovering a hidden treasure trove of ancient body art. Otzi's genetic legacy. In 2012, scientists decoded Otzi's entire genetic makeup, like reading a book about his ancestors. But in 2023, they went even further, creating a super detailed version of his genetic code with way less modern human stuff mixed in. According to findings, Otzi's Y chromosome DNA puts him in a special group called GL91, which is linked to a place called South Corsica today. His mitochondrial DNA, which comes from the maternal line, placed him in a group called K1, but he didn't fit neatly into any of its subgroups. So they made a new subgroup just for him, calling it K10 after Ötzi himself. It's like discovering a new branch on his family tree. Tests also showed that Ötzi's genetic makeup makes him closest to people from southern Europe, especially those from places like Corsica and Sardinia. This suggests he was part of a big move of early farmers from Turkey to Europe thousands of years ago. It's like Ötzi's genes hold the secrets of ancient European history. DNA testing revealed some surprising things about Ötzi's health and ancestry. He had a high chance of heart problems. Plus, they found traces of a bacteria called Borrelia burgdorferi, which is linked to Lyme disease. If confirmed, this would make Ötzi the earliest known person with Lyme disease, like a medical mystery from the past. In 2023, another study looked deeper into Ötzi's family tree. They found that most of his ancestors were farmers from Turkey, more than any other group in Europe at that time. But there were also some ancestors who were hunters. Surprisingly, they didn't find any traces of a group called the steppe herders, who came later. It's like Ötzi's genes are rewriting history books. It seems like Ötzi's ancestors were still mixing and mingling genetically when he was alive, with farmers from Turkey and hunters from Europe coming together. And by looking at his genes, scientists could even guess what he looked like. They think he probably had darker skin than people in Europe today, but not as dark as ancient hunters. He might have also dealt with hair loss and could have been prone to weight-related health issues like obesity. It's like a peek into Ötzi's mirror, showing us what he might have looked like thousands of years ago. Scientists looked at the DNA of over 3,700 men from Tyrol and found that 19 of them, which is a tiny percentage, shared the same ancient family line as Ötzi. It's like finding a bunch of living relatives who are connected to someone who lived over 5,000 years ago. Imagine the stories they could share about their shared ancestor. It's like a real-life family reunion spanning thousands of years. Ancient Alpine clothing and gear. Ötzi donned a variety of clothing made from different animal skins. He wore a grass cloak and a leather coat, belt, leggings, loincloth, and shoes. His cap was fashioned from bearskin, complete with a leather chin strap. His shoes were sturdy and waterproof, ideal for trekking through snow. They were made with bearskin soles, deer hide tops, and a netting of tree bark. Inside the shoes, he placed soft grass for comfort, acting like modern socks. His coat, belt, leggings, and loincloth were pieced together from strips of leather sewn with sinew. His belt held a pouch containing useful tools: a scraper, drill, flint flake, bone awl, and dried fungus. The shoes Ötzi wore have been remade by a Czech scholar. They're pretty complicated, which makes the scholar think that even way back then, around 5,300 years ago, there were people who made shoes for others. These remade shoes are so good that a Czech company wanted to buy the rights to sell them. There's a new idea from British archaeologist Jackie Wood. She thinks Ötzi's shoes were actually like the top part of snowshoes. According to her theory, the thing we thought was part of his backpack is actually the frame and netting of one snowshoe, with animal hide to cover the foot. The leather loincloth and hide coat Ötzi wore were crafted from sheepskin. Through genetic analysis, it was revealed that the sheep used were closer to modern European domestic sheep than wild ones. These items were actually made from the skins of at least 4 sheep. Interestingly, part of the coat was fashioned from domesticated goat skin, belonging to a mitochondrial haplogroup, a common female ancestor found in Central Europe today. The coat itself was a patchwork of hides from several animals of 2 different species, skillfully stitched together. Additionally, Otzi's leggings were also made from domesticated goat leather. It's fascinating to note that a similar set of leggings, dating back 5,000 years and discovered in Schneidejok, Switzerland, were also made from goat leather. Researchers from Ireland and Italy analyzed the mitochondrial DNA from 6 pieces of Otzis clothing and shared their discoveries in the journal Scientific Reports. Their findings revealed that the shoelaces were crafted from European cattle. The quiver, used for holding arrows, was made from the skin of wild roe deer, while the fur hat came from a lineage of brown bears native to the region where Ötzi lived. Among the belongings discovered with the Iceman were a copper axe with a handle made from yew wood, a knife with a blade made from chert, and a handle crafted from ash wood, and a quiver containing 14 arrows made from viburnum and dogwood. 2 of these arrows were broken, with flint tips and stabilizing fins called fletching, while the other 12 were incomplete and lacked tips. These arrows were stored in a quiver along with what appears to be a bowstring, an unidentified tool, and an antler tool possibly used for sharpening arrowheads. Additionally, an unfinished longbow made from yew wood, measuring 1.82 meters in length, was also discovered. Otzi's belongings included berries, 2 baskets made from birch bark, and 2 types of polypore mushrooms with leather strings attached. One of these mushrooms, known as birch fungus, was likely used for its medicinal properties to treat parasites. The other type served as tinder for fire starting and was part of a comprehensive fire-making kit, which included pieces from over a dozen different plants along with flint and pyrite for sparking. Of particular interest was Otzi's copper axe. The handle, made from meticulously crafted yew wood, measured 60 centimeters and featured a right-angled bend leading to the blade. The axe head, nearly pure copper and 9.5 centimeters long, was cast rather than mechanically hardened. Surprisingly, a study in 2017 revealed that the copper used in the axe originated from southern Tuscany, despite the known presence of copper ore sources in the Alpine region during Otzi's time. The axe head was securely fastened to the handle using birch tar and tight leather bindings. Signs of use were evident on the blade, indicating its practical utility in chopping and cutting tasks. In Otzi's era, such an axe would have been highly prized, serving not only as a valuable tool, but also as a symbol of status for its owner. A tale of ancient tragedy. Initially, it was thought that Ötzi met his demise due to exposure during a fierce winter storm. However, later speculation arose suggesting he might have been the victim of a ritual sacrifice, possibly because he held a high position, like that of a chieftain. This idea was inspired by theories proposed for other bodies found in peat bogs, such as the Tolland Man and the Lindo Man. However, X-rays and a CT scan revealed an arrowhead lodged in Otzi's left shoulder at the time of his death, with a corresponding small tear found on his coat. This discovery led researchers to theorize that Ötzi succumbed to blood loss from the wound, a fatal injury even by today's medical standards. Further investigation uncovered that the arrow's shaft had been removed before Ötzi died. Close examination of his body revealed bruises, cuts, and signs of head trauma, suggesting he endured a violent struggle before his demise. One particularly deep cut, reaching down to the bone at the base of his thumb, had not healed before his death. Experts believe Ötzi bled to death after the arrow shattered his shoulder blade, damaging vital nerves and blood vessels before coming to rest near his lung. This detailed analysis sheds new light on the circumstances surrounding Ötzi's tragic end, revealing a story of ancient violence and survival. DNA analyses reportedly discovered traces of blood from at least 4 other individuals on Ötzi's belongings. 1 on his knife, 2 on a single arrowhead found in his quiver, and a 4th on his coat. However, archaeologist Alessandro Vanzetti and his team from Sapienza University of Rome proposed a different theory. They suggested Ötzi might have died at a lower altitude and then been buried higher up in the mountains. Their study focused on the objects found near Ötzi and their positions. They speculated that he might have been placed above what seemed to be a stone burial mound. However, over time, With each thaw cycle, water flowing down the mountain could have moved his body before it refroze. While archaeobotanist Klaus Oegel agrees that this natural process could have caused Ötzi's body to move, he argues that there's no solid evidence to prove the scattered stones formed a burial platform. Biological anthropologist Albert Zink adds another perspective, noting that Ötzi's bones show no signs of dislocation that would occur if he slid downhill. Additionally, the blood clots in his arrow wound are intact, suggesting his body wasn't shifted up the mountain after death. Regardless of where he was buried, the theory doesn't change the likelihood that Ötzi met a violent end. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. In the shadowy depths of a secluded laboratory, a team of scientists huddle around a glowing screen, their eyes wide with anticipation. The air crackles with electricity as they delve into the ancient mysteries locked within the DNA of Otzi the Iceman, a relic of a bygone era. As the sequencer hums to life, ancient DNA reveals Otzi the Iceman's surprising secrets, and scientists are stunned. Buried within Otzi's genetic code are revelations that rewrite the history books. Far from being a simple wanderer of the Alps, Otzi is revealed to be a skilled artisan, crafting tools with precision beyond their wildest imaginations. His lineage traced back to a forgotten tribe, distinct from any known civilization of the time. But perhaps the most shocking revelation of all is the discovery of a genetic marker linked to a rare form of immunity. Otzi, it seems, possessed resistance to diseases that had plagued his contemporaries, a trait that could hold the key to medical breakthroughs in the modern world. As the implications of their findings sink in, the scientists exchange excited glances. Otzi the Iceman had once been lost to the icy embrace of time, but now his legacy would live on, unlocking the secrets of the past and shaping the future of humanity. Ancient burial rites and societal dynamics. Some folks have a different, intriguing theory about Otzi's remarkable preservation and the purpose of his equipment. They claim that rather than being tools for mountain survival, they might have been intended for a journey to the afterlife. This sheds light on ancient burial rituals and political strategies. This idea has sparked a fresh perspective on Ötzi's story. This theory explains various mysteries, such as the unusual preservation of the body, the incomplete arrows, and the heavy equipment Ötzi supposedly carried. It draws on social theory, but contrasts with the original research group's interpretation. After undergoing countless tests and analyses, Ötzi has become the most extensively examined mummy in archaeological history. Unlike Egyptian mummies made by people, Ötzi's preservation is a natural wonder. His remarkably well-preserved body has been a central focus since its discovery, especially when compared to other bodies found in similar icy conditions. Examinations of Ötzi's skin and tissues revealed that he dried out quickly when exposed to air and then later became encased in ice. This rapid drying might have happened naturally or deliberately. Evidence supports different theories. Either he dried out where he was found, or he underwent a type of ceremonial treatment before being buried at a high altitude. Today, Ötzi's body is on display in a special freezing chamber in Bozen. Looking beyond just how Ötzi the mummy was kept safe and buried, his finding reveals surprising new insights into ancient societies from the Copper Age. By studying his wounds, like the one from a hand dagger and the deadly arrow injury, along with a possible head blow, it hints at a world where battles were common and people used various weapons. Examining the pollen in his gut shows that Ötzi traveled across different heights, which matches up with a type of warfare where small groups attacked quickly. Ötzi the Iceman's food gives us clues about how he lived. It seems he mostly ate things like grains and possibly cheese that were probably from a village. But his connection to the wild, maybe even sacred mountains, was still strong. Also, his clothes were made from goat and sheep skin, but his last meat meal was from hunted deer and ibex, wild animals whose skins were used for other parts of his clothes. He even wore a hat made from bearskin, showing how closely he was linked to the wild. Ötzi seemed to be a leader of his time, as shown by his impressive collection of weapons like a dagger, axe, bow, and arrows, along with tools and a fancy marble bead. What's really fascinating is the quality of his clothes, which were amazingly well preserved. The way different animal skins of different colors were carefully chosen and put together, and the attention to detail in his outfit suggest there was a lot of thought put into what he wore, hinting at a complex understanding of his role and who he was. His coat and belt matched the style seen on big stone markers found later in the Alpine Copper Age, which often showed powerful ancestors or gods with weapons. This suggests Ötzi might have been an important leader in his tribe, but those later stone markers seem to celebrate more abstract, maybe even sacred, ancestral figures. It's possible that as societies evolved, power became less about individual leaders and more about formalized political systems. Unearthing Alpine Secrets. Was Ötzi a one-time discovery? While there aren't any other finds as dramatic as Ötzi's, there have been some significant artifacts found in similar high-altitude alpine areas dating back to the same period. These discoveries include items like axes, daggers, and arrowheads. Some experts suggest these items might have been lost by travelers or shepherds passing through, or they could have been part of hidden stashes. However, there's another high-altitude alpine pass called the Millennia-old that shares similarities with Ötzi's discovery site. Here, researchers have found fragments of clothing, a wooden bow, a quiver with arrows, and shoe fragments. Radiocarbon dating places these items between the early 3rd millennium and the 2nd millennium BCE. Although no bodies have been found, these discoveries hint at the possibility of collapsed graves similar to where Ötzi was found, suggesting that his case might not be as isolated as once thought. Even in the stories passed down through Alpine folklore, there's a hint of truth about how bodies and burials from the Copper and Bronze Ages could be preserved by ice and gradually revealed as the climate became milder. One such legend, recorded in 1862 by a historian, this legend likely reflects the sighting of Bronze Age burials in high-altitude areas. In those times, the deceased were often buried with long copper pins as part of their funeral customs. It's conceivable that these bodies, emerging from the ice like Ötzi, inspired the portrayal of sinners in the traditional outdoor shrines of the region, depicted as black-skinned, almost skeletal figures. What are your thoughts on the secrets revealed by the Iceman's DNA? Let us know your opinion in the comments below.